Welcome to Cheryl K's Cooking Diaries, old-fashioned Southern cooking. So glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome back to Cheryl K's Cooking Diaries. This evening we're going to make my homemade cheeseburger macaroni skillet. This is so easy to do and it tastes wonderful. So let me get you over here and let me show you everything that goes into this. So give me just a minute. Okay guys, let me show you everything that goes into this. This is basically like your hamburger helper kind of skillet thing, except this is just the homemade kind. So, and this is in my recipe book. The first thing though is you're going to need you a good sized skillet. I'm just going to use an iron skillet. You can use a non-stick skillet if that's what you prefer. And then you're going to need about 1 pound of hamburger, and we're going to fry this hamburger, and then we're going to strain it really good, okay? And you're going to need 1 tablespoon of just cornstarch. You are going to need 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. Now, if you don't have any smoked paprika, you can also use the regular paprika. But if you do use paprika of any kind, you want to be careful because, as I've stated before, this is one of the louder seasonings. So now I'm going to measure these out this time. Usually I don't measure my seasonings. Usually they're always just to your taste. But I thought, well, that'd be helpful. So we're going to just measure these out. And then you're going to need 1½ teaspoons of the garlic powder. You are going to need 1½ teaspoons of the onion powder. You're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. You're going to need 2 cups of hot water, and we'll get that when we get to that point. And then you're going to need 1½ cups of milk. You're going to need 2 cups of the Elbow Macaroni, or whatever kind of pasta you prefer, really. But now, I don't know that I'll use a full 2 cups in this. So we'll just have to see when we get there. I just don't like adding a whole lot of pasta. We're not real big pasta eaters. We like it, but we don't eat it all the time. So I don't know if I'll add the actual 2 cups, but that's just my base that I go by. Okay, that way it helps you all out. The last thing you're going to need is just 2 cups of the mild shredded cheddar cheese. So anyway, y'all, let me get some things organized, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our hamburger fried and get this skillet put together. So give me just a minute. Okay, guys, here we go. All right, I'm over here at my stove, and we're going to get our hamburger out, and we're going to put it in our skillet. Now, I have my burner on medium, okay? I don't never fry my hamburger on a real high temperature. I may possibly turn it up to 6, I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our 1 pound of hamburger. And this is the 80/20 hamburger. So let's go ahead and get it out. Get it in our skillet. Now I'm going to take me a meat chopper and just kind of chop my meat up a little bit. When it starts getting brown though, it'll break apart a lot easier. So we're just going to just keep chopping this up until it starts turning brown. We'll have to flip it over, but it'd be better to use my spatula here in just a minute. So y'all might hear a little bit of scraping, so I apologize in advance if you do. Come on now, get off there. So just chop your burger up. And sometimes these little choppers, I mean, they're all right, but I think I'm going to use something different because they're not the greatest thing in the world. We're going to just keep chopping this burger up until we get it really fine. So that's how I'm going to do it. And then when it gets browner, I'll be able to chop it up a little bit better, y'all. So anyway, y'all, just brown you some burger and chop it up as fine as you like it. If you like it in big chunks, you can leave it in chunks. You don't have to chop it up as fine as I've got mine right now. All right, guys, I got the hamburger strained really good, and as you can tell, we like our meat real fine like that. Now, you don't have to make yours that way. If you don't like it that way, you can leave it chunky or however you like. Now, my hamburger is very well strained from grease, okay? So, but you do yours however you and your family like it. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to start putting in our seasonings. But first, we are going to add our cornstarch. Okay? So, all we're going to do with these seasonings, y'all, we're going to sprinkle all these seasonings on here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to mix it all in until we get it all evenly distributed throughout our meat. Okay? Okay. So the first thing you're going to need to put in is 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Alright, here goes 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Okay, next you're going to need 1 tablespoon of the smoked paprika. Alright, here's our 1 tablespoon of our smoked paprika. We're going to put it in there. So, now we're going to add 1½ teaspoons of the garlic powder. Alright? You could probably use whatever you wanted to really on this, but I try to stick with right about this because I found out this is about the right amount for this dish, you know, for the taste. So that's why I measure these out. I think it's just better on some things that I make that I do measure them out. But a lot of times I do not. All right, take these things off and do something with them, being so rattly all the time. There's 1. Here comes the half of the teaspoon. Alrighty, that's in there. We are going to add our onion powder. We're going to need 1½ teaspoons for it. All these other ain't so darn noisy. My goodness. I love them, but they're so noisy. Alright, so here's 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And then ½ teaspoon. Yeah, I told my husband and I said, you know what? I got to looking in my recipe book, and I said, well, I haven't made that in a long time. I said, so I'm going to do that tonight. So, okay. And then, lastly, on the seasonings, we're going to need ½ teaspoon of the black pepper. All right. And there's our black pepper. We are done with the seasonings. And I do not add salt. Some people do. I don't. It's just something I don't add to my food when I make food or when I cook dinner. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix all these seasonings in. But we're not going to turn our heat on, by the way, guys. We are not going to turn our heat on. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to start mixing these together. And so we can get them all evenly distributed through our meat. My meat is a little drier, so... But you don't have to do that with yours. I'm thinking what might be best right now. Take this whisk out of here. Let me use my little rubber spatula. Sometimes it works better, my little small one. And just mix all this in here. Because you want to try to get it as even as you can throughout your meat. To help season your meat. Your meat's already going to have somewhat of seasoning from the grease from the meat where we fried it. But see, I don't leave a lot of grease in mine. We're going to have some of it, but, you know, I get rid of a lot of mine. But this stuff is so good. But I've changed it up over the years, y'all, and added more things to it now. But I'll tell you what, my son, Matt, I make the cheeseburger hamburger helper like this, homemade. It's a little different. I'm going to tell you what, he loves it. So, and I'm sure he'd love this too, just for the simple fact I've added some more stuff to it. So I make it 2 different ways. So we're making it, I make it this way, and then I also make it another way, where I use a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese. And then I just make my own up that way. So see, guys, how I got all that blended in there? And all the cornstarch, you want to just try to blend all that in together. If you see a few little white pieces of cornstarch, don't worry about it. It'll be all right. We'll put the water and everything in here. But try to get it as blended as you can. Next, what we are going to do is to get 2 cups of very hot water. So give me just a second and I'll be back and we'll get our water in here, guys. Alright guys, I've got the hot water. So I put two cups of really hot water into this bowl. And we're going to go ahead and put this in here, okay? So we're going to go ahead and add our hot water. If this skillet happens to be too small, I may have transferred over to the other skillet. But the reason for this, guys, is because you need to cover it. So anyway, we've got our 2 cups of our hot water in there. And now we're going to add 1.5 cups of our milk. So let's get, and then we're going to turn our burner on here in just a second, okay? Alrighty. It's about there. There we go. See, I don't know. 1. I'm not sure with the pasta. It may not fit, y'all. I may have to transfer it. And there's a half. Alright. 2 cups of our macaroni and 2 cups of cheese. And that's why I say I may just have to transfer it, and we may just kind of give this a little bit of a stir. So I'm just going to have to be extra careful. But guys, I just don't think that's all going to fit in here. I really don't. So, okay. Let's transfer this over to another skillet, guys. So give me just a minute. Okay, guys, I transferred this over. So now is the time where the pasta comes in. Now, with this pasta, y'all, you got to use what you want, but the base amount is about 2 cups, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a cup out of the pasta. Alright, 1 cup first. We'll put that in there, okay? And then let's do 1.5 cups. I'm not going to do 2 cups of pasta. That's quite a bit. That's just how we like it, because we don't like a lot of pasta, like I said. So I'm just going to level this 1/2 cup off here, and then I'm just going to put 1.5 cups of pasta. You can put however many, how much you want, but the base is the 2 cups, okay? So now what we're going to have to do is we are going to bring this to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, we're going to have to cover it, and we're going to have to reduce our heat, and we're going to simmer this for right about 8 to 11 minutes, just until your pasta gets tender. Till it gets done. So let's go ahead and start our heat. We're going to turn it on high at the beginning. And I just kind of stir this in here. And sometimes I also add a little bit. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the Worcestershire. Oops, I'm just making a mess. And because Worcestershire goes good with beef, I think. That's one of my favorite things to put in beef sometimes is the Worcestershire sauce. So we're going to add a little bit of that. We're not going to add a lot. I'm not going to measure this out. So let's add, we'll shake this up. You want to shake your Worcestershire sauce up good. So let me get the lid off. And I'm just going to kind of, all I'm going to do, just pour a little bit, drip some of this in here. Kind of shake it a little bit. Helps give it a little bit extra flavor. 1 skillet deal, and it is so good. Alrighty, so we're going to let that come to boil, guys, so give it just a minute. Kind of stir all that seasoning and everything in together good with that Worcestershire that I just added. At least anywhere from 8 to 11 minutes, something like that. It all depends, and it depends on how much pasta too you use. So, but make sure you turn it down. That's important. Make sure you turn your heat down to simmer. So I'm going to turn mine down to about 2. That's right about simmer on my stove. It is coming to that rolling boil here. Pretty good. Let me stir this one more time. The sauce, all this together makes up a good sauce, and it will thicken at the end here when we get to that point with the cheese and stuff. Guys, this is a very easy meal. It goes together pretty quick. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put this on sim. Since it is at a rolling boil, we're going to back it down to the sim. Let it simmer for, like I said, a few minutes, 8 to 11, 12 minutes, something like that. And then when it gets done and my pasta is done, I'll bring y'all back and then we'll finish this up. Okay, guys? So I'll be back here shortly. My pasta is done. Now, let me explain something to you. If you remember, my hamburger was a lot drier, right, than most, because I got a lot more grease out of mine, so, which made my hamburger drier. So, therefore, it's made my macaroni and all this thicker, a little thicker from, you know, it being dry. There's not as much grease in here, okay? So, what I do for that, if you want to take a lot of grease out like I did, what I do is I add a little more milk, but, just to kind of thin it down just a little bit. So we're going to do that, but I'm just going to add a little bit at a time. I don't want to over add, you know, so we're just going to add what I think might be about right for us, because it is a little thick and we've got to add cheese. So let's thin this down just a little bit. And that's exactly what it is where my hamburger was a lot drier. Because I'm telling you, I really squeezed the grease out of it. Strained a lot of the grease out. So let me just kind of stir this in, see what I think. Might need just a little bit more. Because if we don't, that cheese, it's just gonna be too thick. Because normally, guys, now if you leave some grease in your burger and stuff, you may have to wait for it to thicken up afterwards, and you usually just let it sit on the stove off the heat and just let it do its thing, and it will eventually thicken up. But since my burger was so much drier, I have to add that extra milk. So I think that's pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and add our cheese, and we are going to add. I'm going to use my ½ cup measurement because that big cup is hard to get in there. So I'm just going to do this ½ cup at a time. And anyway, it's probably better to do that just so you can see about how much you got in there each and every time. Keep your burner off, and we're just going to sprinkle our cheese. But now we are going to be stirring this in because it's supposed to be. There's a ½ cup. And then this here will make a cup. As soon as I get it leveled off a little bit. There's another one. Okay. And then, what I'm going to do, let's stir this in a little bit and see where we're at. It's better to always add less than adding a bunch and then having too much. Okay? Because everybody's different on how much stuff they like, and you don't necessarily have to add the 2 cups of cheese. I mean, you can add a cup and a half, but I will tell you, the cheese is what really makes it. So that's why it's called what it is. It's kind of like the hamburger helper. It's just kind of, I kind of added a lot, you know, some other things to it this time instead of making it with the box of Kraft macaroni and cheese. Because I usually use their packet is what I do with my elbow noodles. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add another ½ cup. And I think that's all cheese I'm going to add because it seems like it's got plenty. So let's try a cup and a half. Okay. Stir that other ½ cup of cheese in. Okay, see where we're at with that. That might be enough. I don't know. We might have to add the last. Sometimes I add a whole 2 cups. Sometimes I add a ½ cup and a half. But you can add, you know, whatever you want to on top of this. You can put Parmesan cheese, more of that. Or the grated kind you can use on top of it. Whatever kind you know, you and your family like. So, alright, y'all. So now, you know, when you add your cheese, after you simmer it and your noodles are done, you want to turn your heat off, okay? And then add your cheese then. If I didn't specify that, I don't remember. But it still looks pretty thick for you. You could always add a little bit more milk, okay? And I usually add a little more pepper to mine. But I do add just a little bit more milk because it's a little bit too thick. Now, I might need to turn mine back on sim just for a few minutes, just to kind of heat it up a little bit. Because, of course, add milk like that, it's going to cool it down. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn it back on just for a minute. You can do that with it. It's not a big deal. I just wouldn't overcook it. Don't do that. So let's go ahead and stir this milk in. Let's see where we're at with it. Boy, it's awful cheesy, I know that. So I think I'm just going to stay with 1.5 cups of cheese. And if my husband thinks, you know, that he wants more than that, I'll go ahead and add some more later. But I think we're good where we're at. So I'm going to add some black pepper while this is heating up a little bit, because I think, you know, at the end here it helps give it a little bit more flavor. And but you can add anything that you want to. Okay, it's starting to heat up, so let's see where this I don't know. See, I still like my stuff a little thinner, but really this is not really supposed to be real thin. I mean, I'm not talking soupy thin, just, you know, a little bit thinner than that. But I don't want to you know what I mean? I don't want to put too much milk in it. And I will say, the more grease you leave in this, y'all, it does give it more flavor. Now, I'm going to tell you that. But we don't, just something we don't do. We like it the way it is. We just, if we want to add something on top of it, we do. But it's good. It's good the way it is. Let me give it a try. And I'm kind of curious of how, you know, how it is right now. But I just want to make sure it gets heated. I have turned my heat up to about 4, though. Let me see, guys. Let me see how this is. That's good, guys. I'm telling you, it really is. It's an easy meal, too. So, we'll probably just eat some wheat bread with this. I thought about making some garlic toast right quick. So just fix this to your liking, okay? See, the milk, to me, helps make it creamy with the cheese. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on this, y'all, and I'm going to let this simmer so this can get hot for us. And I'm going to go ahead and get our plates out. And listen, guys, I mean, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. This is a really easy meal to make. So, and you just, you know, have to change it up according to how you like it. Anyway, guys, listen, I hope you all have enjoyed this, my homemade cheeseburger macaroni skillet. And it's really good. You just have to kind of mess with it sometimes and add, you know, what you like. Because everybody's different. But it's cheesy and it's just so good. It's got a good flavor. That cheese really, really helps this. So, and I do add some extra milk tonight because we like ours a little thinner than we do real thick that way. So anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this. And listen, if you don't mind, go to Cheryl K's Cooking Diaries and like and share and follow. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you don't mind, to go over to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe there as well. I would appreciate it. So listen, guys, y'all stay safe and always remember to keep God in your heart and God in your life. Bye.